Hi folks, Dr. Brad Semp here, the host of the Busyness TV show on busyness.com. This is the show dedicated to helping you to get out of busyness and get down to business. Today's episode is brought to us by ilivewithadisability.com, or ILWAD for short. Now, ILWAD is a place for those who refuse to allow a disability to become a defect, a disadvantage, or to result in defeat. So visit ilivewithadisability.com right now. In today's episode, we're going to cover what I call action units. Then I'm going to answer a question about product launches, and we'll wrap up with a Netfix segment on email addiction. I'd also like to point out, as we enter here the 10th episode of the Business TV show, that we're listening to your feedback. And so starting with next week, there's going to be more interactivity, more engaging conversation and interviews. It's the stuff that you as the viewers are asking for. So stay tuned. I'd like to thank you for being here and look forward to seeing you back this next week and well beyond. It's now time for our Design for Action segment. This is a segment in which we help you to take control of your actions and stop allowing your actions to control you and to control your day. It's time for you to change, and it's time for us to help you do just that. Now, in this segment, we want to cover something that I call action units. Action units is a concept of scheduling your day in 15-minute increments. So rather than taking a look at your calendar, your day, your Franklin planner, your Gmail calendar, whatever it may be, instead of looking at your day as a whole and trying to schedule to 8 hours at work or 24 hours around the clock, we want to zoom down from that big macro view down to the microscopic level. And I want to challenge you to start to plan your day in 15-minute increments. Now here's why. There's a study recently that showed that when somebody gets interrupted by email, or interrupted by anything for that matter, it takes 15 to 20 minutes for your mind to become fully engulfed and saturated back into whatever it was that you were doing, whatever task that you were working on. So think about that. 15 minutes of time to get reacclimated. So every time you get interrupted, that's a 15-minute delay before, to get back to the point that you were at. So instead, the challenge here, and what I'd like you to do, this works very, very effectively, is to schedule in action units. So you have a task that is maybe a 1 AU, or 2 AU, a 5 AU. 5 AU would be an hour and 15 minutes, right? And that 5 AU may be broken up. You may have a 2 AU period, which would be a 30-minute block, followed by a 1 AU break, and then another 3 AU time frame. So your challenge is during those times to be very, very focused, right? So you want to shut off your email, you want to lock your door, you want to just shut down any distraction that could have. Tell your admin to not let anybody in to see you because you're in the middle of a focused action period, right? So action units. Think about this. You have 96 action units each and every day. Do you know how much impact you can have by just focusing in 15-minute increments? 1 AU, 1 action unit, and you can live a life totally engulfed in spirituality or with that clear mind, the mindset that you'd like to have. Only 2 action units a day, and you can live a life of physical well-being. You can be physically fit on 2 AUs per day. That's it. Now, how do you handle the rest? Right? A normal 8-hour workday would be 32 action units. But I can tell you, and you know what I'm talking about here, you don't use a full 32 action units. There's a lot of water cooler talk. There's a lot of walking around. There's a lot of playing on the computer. Get rid of all that, right? You can be as productive in half of that. 16 AUs. You'll get more done if you start focusing and scheduling your day on action units. You will get more done in 4 hours of work than you've ever gotten done in a full day before. Trust me on this. I look forward to speaking with you much more on this topic in the coming weeks and months. But right now, I'd love to hear your input on it. What do you think about the action unit concept? It works, so try it. If you need help, reach out to me. scroll down below and submit a comment. I'd love to hear from you on what you think about action units. It's now time for our Ask Dr. Brad segment. This is a segment in which you ask questions and I answer them. And in exchange for you asking the question and me answering it on air, you will receive a very valuable gift. So, today I am proud to announce that Gary Cullum from Kingston, Jamaica, thank you very much for this important question, and you will receive a free copy, free access to our Entrepreneur Cash Map package valued at $497 over at cashmap.com. So thank you for your question. And here's Gary's question. What's your take on product launches? Some people swear that you have to have one, but are they just a waste of time? Do I have to do one? And if so, what are the steps? Okay, many different parts to this question here, Gary. And a very good one though. And here's my answer for you. All right, are they a waste of time? No, not necessarily. Product launches play an important role, just like anything else, in a business endeavor and business growth, right? There's times that you want to consider a product launch. And there's other times that you may want to just release a product or roll it out there, do what's called a rolling launch over time, as opposed to one big product launch, right? So anytime you release something, I want to kind of reframe this question and reset your mind a little bit. Anytime you release a product or service, you're launching it to the public. Or to, maybe it's not even to the public, maybe it's to a private list that you have. So yes, you have to do product launches, but what is the variability, where the variability comes in here, is how you actually launch something, right? So let's look at somebody like Jeff Walker of Product Launch Formula. Just did a massive launch. Product Launch Formula 3 is evergreen product. He's an expert in the internet type launches, and I know he expands beyond internet marketing, but his launch methodology is great for some products in some markets, right? That type of approach does not work in, let's say, the automotive market. And he may argue that it does, but come on, in the automotive market, you're not going to launch a vehicle and then take it off the market to build up this, pent-up frustration and desire for the doors to open so I can sell another car. No. Once a car is out there, we need to recoup the cost of goods sold, and so, bam, that's out, it's gone. So there's lots of different ways to launch. You have to do a product launch. The question becomes on just how you're going to do it. And for the steps, boy, that's a loaded question there. So Gary, I'd love to interact with you. Come to Busyness Live. I know you've been on there before. Come check us out at Busyness Live. Let's talk more about the steps to an effective product launch. So I'd like to remind everyone, first, Gary, thank you for that question. I would like to remind everyone, if you have a question, visit us at busyness.com and look for the Ask Dr. Brad icon. Click on that and submit your question. If I answer it on air, just like I answered Gary's today, you will receive a free access to our Entrepreneur Cash Map package valued at $497. Thanks, Gary. And I look forward to answering many, many more questions on subsequent shows. It's now time for our Netfix segment. Netfix is a segment in which we take a look at technological and electronic addictions and how to turn them around. Now, in today's segment, I'd like to talk about an addiction that most people probably do not even consider to be an addiction, and that is email, and your email inbox. It's interesting. I'll tell you a little personal story. I used to spend 2.5 hours per day, because I did a time study, I know exactly what it was, 2.5 hours per day in my email inbox. And by applying a little system, an email survival system that I'm going to release to all of you in the very near future, I've reduced my time in my email inbox from 2.5 hours per day, actually it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes, down to only about 20 minutes per day. So that's 25% of my workday that's been freed up. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I actually did that about 2 years ago. So it's not something recent. It's about 2 years ago. We've been perfecting this system. But the Osterman Research Group, I wanted to bring up a little fact here. The Osterman Research Group recently came out with a study that said 94% of workers check their work email at night. 94%. And what's really, really important here is that it just shows that we are literally addicted to email because we can't get away from it. There is no separation any longer between work and home in different places. So it's absolutely imperative. Come here, Austin. Come here. Come on an impromptu show here of the Business TV show since he just walked in. Hey, do you know what email is, buddy?
What?
Do you know what email is? Mm-hmm. No, you don't know? Good. So we're going to try to keep it that way, okay? So our challenge in society is just like this little monkey. This is Austin, our fourth child. How old are you, Austin? 3? Yeah, he's 3. And so our challenge is to keep his fresh little mind away from email. And the challenge is to have you do the same. So that concludes our show for today. And I told you, episode number 10 and moving forward, we're going to have many impromptu guests, just like my son Austin there. Right? It's going to be much more interactive and much more engaging. Now, that wasn't planned. It just so happened that all of our children are trained to not walk into the office when Dad is working unless I acknowledge them. And that time right there, it's evening time right now, and Austin just decided to come on in. So we made the best of it. And I hope you enjoyed that little surprise cameo appearance from my son Austin. But with that, I hope you enjoyed this show, and I look forward to having you back on subsequent episodes of the Busyness TV show. I'd like to remind you to register for show notifications and updates by visiting busyness.com and using your email address, or going to iTunes and subscribing there to our video podcast. Also check us out at facebook.com/busyness TV. So thank you again. I'm Dr. Brad Semp, and I look forward to seeing you back here again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.